What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast, where I'm having to do this from my fucking phone because internet sucks out here sometimes. It is what it is. But we got the boys. You know who we are. We got Don, Tom, Sage, Brad. We got Seeps, and we got Thursday Will Be Ugly joining us as well.
Gonna be bad.
And honestly, you're the person, Addison, I've been most looking forward to hear from, but we will get to you. We will get to you. We're gonna talk Thursday night football. We're gonna talk power rankings. All right, it's a big one. It's Bears at Washington. The NFL decided to grace us with a rematch from last year's game.
Why? That game was hideous too.
It was so bad, and at least the Bears were exciting last year to watch. Washington is so weird. Like, is Washington a good team or are they a bad team? Colin, direct rival. What are your thoughts on them?
It's kind of get a hard read on them. You know, when they play bad teams, they look pretty good. When they play good teams, they look like Washington. So
before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
I mean, it's hard to tell at this point. You know, give me a few more weeks and we'll be able to have a better read on them in a couple more weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree. They did play Philly pretty damn good this past week.
Pretty tough.
Shockingly.
They did.
Shockingly tough.
I think they sold not going for two.
Should have gone for two.
You have all the momentum last second, especially with you threw a dumb pass right before the play before that. If they catch that, game's over because you're not in the end zone, first off. So you get life. A second play with like 5 seconds on the clock, you get a run two. You score, go for two on the road against a division rival. I mean, upset an undefeated team. Momentum's right there in your face, and you bitched away, and Philly made you pay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could not agree more. And they it's like we talked about the Giants last year, going for two on week one. Like sometimes that could have catapulted them, man. A win at Philly.
Yeah, exactly. And a situation
that.
like that where it's like you score, no time remaining, you go for two and get it. Like I understand heartbreaking loss, but you lost anyway. You didn't even get to touch the ball, or I don't think they did.
I think they received it in overtime.
They did punt. Yeah, they did punt. Yeah, so but still, it's just like you had the ball, you had already scored, you're 2 yards away, and you kicked the PAT.
Yeah, that's one where it's like you're not supposed to win this game anyways. Yeah. You might as well go for it. You have nothing to lose. Like, you're Washington. We all know this. And then, I don't know, it was very surprising. And they are going to be hosting a team that has been equally as surprising this year. Just unbelievably more disappointing. I mean, this wasn't even Bears fans talking this offseason and talking like, hey, Justin Fields may end the season in an MVP conversation. Like, we're not going to sit here and say he's going to win it, but will he get a vote? He just might. And now we're talking new quarterback at the end of the year. We're talking new coaching, new regime, do you burn this whole thing to the freaking ground? Addison, as our resident Bears fan, where are you at with all this? Like, I know you want Justin Fields to succeed. How can you not want Justin Fields to succeed? He's your quarterback. But are you ready to pull the plug and move on to Caleb Williams?
I mean, that last game was absolutely heartbreaking. Perfect start for Justin Fields. Sets a franchise record for most passes completed in a row. Only incomplete pass in the first half was a Hail Mary. Offense looks absolutely amazing. Second half, we just get completely conservative, start running the ball. And we were running the ball well, but it just took the ball out of the guy's hands who was extremely hot. So this is where it just turns into coaching staff. Major problem. I mean, Eberflus, 14 L's in a row. It's rare to keep your job when that happens. And I think if this wasn't a Thursday night game, Eberflus might have been gone already. I think the quick turnaround saved his ass just to have another loss. And if and when they lose this game, I mean, you got to fire Eberflus and Getsy both. I just don't know what to do then in that scenario. Quarterback coach becomes the OC, but I just don't know who comes and takes control of this locker room. Might be a situation like the Colts. I mean, we might hire a former player. I mean, how down bad can we be doing something that, shouldn't be done? It's tough on Fields because the one play, the strip sack fumble off the boot where the previous time we did the boot, he made the defender miss, gets Herbert a touchdown. And then the next time it's a strip sack fumble. That's all momentum. You can say that's on him. I still think it's coaching. It's a tough spot for Fields, man. He played his best game as a pro, and we lost. We choked. I mean, this is a loss last year where you're like, all right, that's fine, whatever. We won't do that again. This is the second year, Eberflus. What are we doing? Your hits principle, it's dog shit, man. It's something you preach to high school kids. It gets annoying, I'm sure, for these pros to hear you over and over and over. And it's loss after loss. Your principle doesn't work, man. And you're sticking to it like glue. And that's why, like, it's just, we got to strip the staff mid-season, first head coach in Bears history to be fired. It's got to be Eberflus. I can't see a scenario where they keep him around unless it's like they've told him and Poles they're both gone at the end of the year and they're just being the Bears and they're going to stick him out, which would be dumb. So I think it's staff. You give Fields the rest of the year. I mean, I'm talking to my old man. I just don't know what's the scenario he can stick around, though, because if we suck and have an opportunity to pick Williams, how good could Fields have played? But if he still looks like it could be him after we change the staff, if you have Caleb Williams there, it's tough, man. I feel like Fields' time in Chicago is coming to an end, sadly. I just don't know. It's like he's got to step on the gas immediately. Like these rest of these games, there can't be a question with you at quarterback in any of them, man, because your back's up against the wall. Tough spot, man. Feel for the kid because the staff's got to go. And that's where I'm at with the Bears, at least, the staff completely. But eventually it's like Fields too, man. We broke him. You just can't continue to try out a guy that's lost all confidence. Sad.
Right. Yeah, I've got to agree. It's been hard to watch. Colin, I feel like you were going to say something. What you got?
I was going to say, yeah, Addison, as the Bears fan here of the podcast, how did you feel about going for it on a fourth down there at the end of the game with like 3 minutes left and easy field goal range? You know, especially before you answer, I mean, a defensive head coach, you have no, I mean, I know the Bears defense isn't anything to write home about, but as a defensive head coach, you got to think, okay, let's get points, let's get a lead. And if we get one stop, it's over. Instead, you go for it. And honestly, Fields might have made the wrong read on that play. I think if he kept it, he might have gotten to the edge for the first down, but I mean, you have no confidence in your defense at all.
That was the big shocker for me there. I knew when we called the timeout, we were going for it. I've seen some pundits say, why didn't they kick the field goal? I would have been pissed if we called a timeout and kicked the field goal. I'm glad we went for it. I hate the play call. An inside zone on 4th and 1. But prior to the timeout, Fields was under center, could have sneaked. The line looked sort of weak. And then on the play, Colin, I agree. It felt like that was the read for him to keep it on the outside. But Darnell Wright did come out and say he missed a block. He did miss a block and it wasn't executed. So I feel like, and the team feels like what they've said is they liked that play, just wasn't executed well. It's a heartbreaker. I mean, I like the aggressiveness. If we get that, you like to think Bears win. But the defense, I get it though. The defensive coach, man, you don't trust. That's why we hire you. You don't trust the unit that you specialize in. You're calling the plays on defense, Eberflus, and you don't trust your own team, your own calls to get a stop against a team that you have been dominating until the fourth quarter. Tough though on Fields. I mean, that's just the Bears season though, in a nutshell. Can't get 4th and 1 multiple times already this season. And the biggest moment when maybe a win doesn't save the whole season. We go on some magic run, but at least gives us momentum to not potentially be the first overall pick and everybody's gone. But that's this regime. I mean, we'll see when they're gone, but hopefully it's soon. But tough.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with the fact that Eberflus is the one calling the plays right now. He's already the second person calling plays. The defensive coordinator already resigned. Are you really going to go to your third person before week 5? You know, that's like we're a quarter of the way through the season, and are we going to have 3 defensive coordinators already? And if that guy sucks, are we calling for another one? Like,
yeah, no, you're not wrong. Because that's the thing. What do we do? Strip the staff down to nobody? Like, eventually, it's like some guys are going to get promoted, and then what happens when they suck? And it's like, okay, maybe this is the roster. But as a Bears fan, I almost want to see that, because then if it is this roster and no coaches can figure it out, maybe Poles is a shit GM. I still believe in the guy, but at the end of the day, he has assembled this team, spent this money on a defense that's gotten worse from when he shredded it. That's not good. And he cuts guys. Travis Gibson couldn't find a spot on the team, goes to the Titans, strip sack. We have 2 sacks on the season. We have -6 turnover ratio. We just don't get turnovers. And Khalil Mack, I get it, he was expensive. Roquan, he plays great for Baltimore. Tremaine Edmonds and Edwards have been lackluster at best. Edmonds really so. And it's like, man, okay, Poles, well, then you're GM, and this is like, damn, are we really doing this? The whole regime is gone again, but it's looking like that, man, and I love it.
That sucks. I do think if you guys lose tomorrow, that Flus has to go.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be it. Like, I don't know if you can tear it all the way down to the studs right now, because then you're just set like, good luck selling tickets to games. Good luck making any money this year, because no one's going to come watch them.
I'll say I was confused when Flus was hired. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
really looking forward to like building around this young quarterback, and your first thought is, I'm going to hire the Colts defensive coordinator, and the Colts had a decent defense, but it's not like they were top 5. It's not like they were this stellar defense like Robert Saleh coming out of nowhere. So
No,
like,
exactly. And the Colts defense created insane turnovers. That is not something that you can just magically replicate because you're on a different team. Like, that is something that is year-to-year basis. The team that leads the league in created turnovers can be bottom 5 next year just because of situations that come about in the game. And it's like, you can't rely on that. Oh, he's a good coach. No, their guys are making plays, but that's that because of the coach. And you're not wrong, Sage. The offense was supposed to grow, and we hired a defensive guy. And look what happens. Fields has just stalled out completely, and we're shocked. Yeah.
I mean, anyone looking to hire a defensive coordinator as their head coach really needs to look at the Bears year after year. I mean, aside from Nagy, I mean, it's hard to keep up with, especially like when you do have a good offensive coordinator, the next year they're gone as a head coach.
Yep.
So you have to have that offensive mind. You have to have that Mike McDaniels. That's why they're not going to struggle for a while. They found Vic Fangio, and theoretically they'll be good for a few years.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. If you want to have a defensive guy as a head coach, have a Hall of Fame, no doubt, quarterback, somebody that you know can get it done with 6 different OCs if you go through that in 6 years. Okay, that's different versus a guy who's trying to latch on to success in the league and he has none. So it's like, oh man, just bad decisions, and not shocking.
And on that, like, that's a great point. Like I hate Brian Flores. Let's not get it twisted here. Now, a Flores guy. Do I think that if he had a good quarterback and not a rookie quarterback, would we have been successful? Yes, because that defense was insane. Our defense was playing so good under him, but he needed a quarterback who could handle the offense himself. He did not want a rookie quarterback. He needed a vet, and he didn't get it. That's not what you get. You get a rookie quarterback, and you have to learn to grow with him, and he didn't know how, and he can fuck right off forever. Yeah, and that's what, so, and you look around the league, like, it's such a scoring league right now. There's just so few teams built on the principle of defense is going to get us where we need to go. Offense will just do enough. Even the 49ers, who are undoubtedly defense first, their offense has scored 30 points every single game. Like, their offense is doing it more than enough to win these ball games. But it's why the Jets aren't winning. Their offense isn't good enough. Their defense is fantastic. They're on the field all game. Eventually, that defense is going to wear down. And if you can't score 15 points and win, or, if you score 15 points, you're going to lose most games, even with a great defense. And that's the Jets.
Yeah, and I just look at Baltimore. They can rely on Lamar because he's a damn good quarterback. So before this year, though, I mean, they were handcuffing the guy on offense, and he was still winning games. And it's like, okay, that's a difference though as well. That's an MVP. You know what I mean? That's an MVP in this league, has dominated the league, and that's the difference.
Yeah. So it's tough right now for the Bears. It's definitely not where we pictured. Now we're even the most pessimistic Bears fan could point you. Bears fans of 60 years who have been just through everything and the ups and downs. Even the most hardened Bears fans could not have pictured an 0-4 start.
Yeah. I mean, just being blunt, this looks like a winless team potential. Like, I know, like, I'm over exaggerating as a fan, but like, actually watching it, them choking that to Denver of all teams, like, this doesn't look like a team that's going to be able to pull out a win. And that's like, I don't want to watch 0-17, but like, that it might be where they're going with just how the games go. And
I'd be surprised if they're favored at all the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, at home against Denver might have been their best shot.
100%.
Especially Denver coming off of giving up 70 points and just getting flattened.
For real.
To not win that game is brutal. I do think if they lose tomorrow, Flus has to go. I mean, you got to, like, otherwise, what are you telling the fans? Like, yeah, we really don't care about this season. Sorry. Like, we're just going to let it happen.
And shit, what are you telling the players? The guys are throwing on your jersey.
Why would they play hard? I don't want to get hurt for you. You people don't care.
No.
Cease, did you have something to add there?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Taking in the conversation here.
I thought I saw the mic twitch. I was like, But all right, so tomorrow's game, Bobby sent his pick, and I believe the spread was Washington -5.5 in the pick he sent. That has moved. It was Washington -6.5 just yesterday. So maybe some sharp money coming in on the Bears. Nobody has ever accused me of being sharp. Don't worry. So I'm not going to ride with the sharp money. I'm going to take Washington -6. Washington has looked good 3 of their 4 games, and they're 2-2. Right? They have 2 wins against a frisky Arizona Cardinals team. and their second one was against the Broncos, who suck. Like, let's not get twisted. Broncos are terrible. But then they went toe to toe with Philly in Philly. That's impressive to me. That's a team
Mhm.
showing like they were punching up for sure. Now,
Mhm.
yes, they got absolutely railroaded by Buffalo Bills, but Buffalo is September wagon. They're always September Super Bowl champions, and Josh Allen's a September MVP. That's just how it goes. But the Bears haven't inspired me. They played 3 good quarters against the Denver Broncos and then just fell apart. And I do want to touch on this real fast. I credit the shit out of Ryan Poles for that Carolina trade. Fantastic trade, especially with how bad Carolina has looked. That is a franchise-altering trade potentially. But if I'm going to credit him for that, I have to knock him for the Chase Claypool trade. I have to.
Yep.
I mean, Chase
Yep.
Claypool is being told to stay home. We don't want you to even in the building. And we'll take a 6th-round pick, literally anything. We will take a laundry token for Chase Claypool. Just get him out of our building.
And you know what's crazy is like the thing where he was asked to stay home. That was a lie. Eberflus was just lying to the media. A Bears PR member came out like literally right after that presser and was like, "Yeah, no, he was not like told to stay home." Or like, no, that's what it was. That's what it was. He was told to stay home, and they made it seem like Chase Claypool had a decision on the matter and chose to say him. Like Eberflus was lying to the media to try to look better. It's like, dude, you're a football coach. You don't like what is going on? Like, what the fuck is going on? You're lying about a situation, and you're also lying to the media about when you tell players. Like the players have known since Saturday that Claypool wasn't playing, and Eberflus tells the media that he tells everybody right before the game. Bullshit. You're just lying. What is up? What is up? That is insane.
He's lost.
Yeah,
he's lost it, I think. And that just makes me lean Washington -6 even that much more, or -5.5, just because, I mean, they just came off of a hard loss. And I think that they showed, well, we can punch with the heavyweights even every now and then, which is shocking to me because I did not think Washington was going to be worth a damn. Give me Washington minus the 5.5 points, though, at home. Sage.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Washington as well. I mean, it's hard not to when you just see the Bears. It looks like they're looking for ways to lose.
Yeah.
And I like props to them. If this is a tank job, they're absolutely killing it.
yeah.
Proud of you guys.
Impressive.
All right. It's damn impressive. But it looks like they're trying to win and then they just fumble it away every single game. And even when they get blown out, like, are they even trying? It's a team of Chase Claypools.
Yeah.
And then they're just singling out one guy. Which it's really sad. Granted, Chase Claypool, totally different story. But no, Washington has thoroughly impressed me, especially last week. It seems like they finally found a running back that's worth a damn in Brian Robinson. If he can control their name of their game, at least how they beat the Eagles last year and how they like continue to like control this clock. It's controlling the clock. They got to control the clock, and they can do that on the line with Brian Robinson, hitting McLaurin, hitting Dotson, and just making sure that Fields doesn't have a chance to make those 3 quarters of magic continue.
Yeah, I agree. Colin, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, a lot of interesting stats here looking back and forth. Addison, was Darnell Mooney hurt week 2 or week 3, or was he hampered with an injury? Or
Yeah, it was it Tampa Bay? He got like sick mid-game.
Okay, I was just looking at stats and I was wondering like why the number 2 receivers on both of these teams are having such bad years. I mean, I'm considering Dotson the number 2 in Washington compared to Samuel being the 3, but if you look at the stats, Samuel's been much better than Dotson this year. Dotson only has 110 receiving yards through 4 games. I mean, that is terrible for a guy who I thought was going to break out this year. Mooney only averaging 26 yards receiving a game. That's also terrible. I mean, week 2 and week 3, he had 0 catches both weeks, whereas he had 4 for 50 plus week 1 and week 4. That was interesting stat. I saw both these teams are trash. They're down offensively. Would it be surprising to you guys if I told you Washington's offense only averages 2.5 more yards per game than the Bears offense, and they only average 3.5 more points per game than the Bears offense? I mean, a lot of that's probably in that Washington or the Buffalo game where Washington got slaughtered. But then you can argue, well, the Bears got slaughtered by KC and they've been slaughtered by, another team or two throughout the journey. Looking at the stats here between the quarterbacks trying to get an edge, Justin Fields, much better first half quarterback, whereas Sam Howell's much better second half quarterback. Specifically in the red zone, Washington's 9 of 15. As soon as they get in there, they're going to punch it in 60% of the time. Bears have only been in the red zone 7 times this year through 4 games. Got to step that up. They are 71% scoring touchdowns on 5 of those 7 drives. So very good red zone offense. As a Cowboy fan, I look at the red zone offense because that's something the Cowboys don't have. But looking at these quarterbacks in the fourth quarter, especially, Sam Howell has tied for his best numbers in the fourth quarter as far as completion percentage, best touchdown interception ratio, and then his best quarterback or passer rating, I should say, is in the fourth quarter compared to Justin Fields. His worst quarter for completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio, and pass rating are all that fourth quarter. So I think the Bears keep it close, up to the half. Thursday night stinker special, and then Washington just takes it over in the second half as the Bears continue their ultimate tank job, as we have mentioned before. So I'll take Washington minus the 6.
So Washington minus the points. Okay. And then Addison, bring us home. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I do think it's going to be ugly, but I think it might be ugly for both teams. I think both these defenses sort of suck. And I'm hoping, just as a fan, just to see some consistency, some growth of what they did last week, at least offensively for the first 3 quarters. I want to take the Bears plus the points. I think primetime game might be ugly, game might be close. I think Howell is a gamer, man, on Washington. He has 5 picks on the year, but 4 against Buffalo. Like, we can just write that out as a trash game, trash appearance. Other than that, though, he's protected the ball, I think, pretty well. And he makes big time throws. Like, he steps up in the pocket. He's showing poise, I think, for a younger guy. I think Bieniemy's helping out quite a bit. And this is showing sort of for Washington fans what it could be if they had like an elite quarterback. Besides the point, I just think the offense will keep it close enough, but the defense is just going to allow points nonstop. Washington will take advantage of that. Can the offense just build anything off of the success they had last week? I hope, and I hope they let Fields throw the ball more, put the game completely in his hands, because we got conservative in the second half and it bit us in the ass. I mean, I knew that game was done, right? When the Broncos scored that first touchdown, I was like, oh, there's time. And you could just tell, which is a bad situation for fans in an organization to be in. I just think the defense being a little suspect for Washington keeps it closer than what it could be, because their offense could blow them out. I mean, the Bears give up like a 60% completion on third down. Like, that's horrendous. And then on offense, surprisingly, the Bears are almost at 40. They're like at 38%. But then you look at the Commanders' defense, and they're only giving up 39% on third down, which isn't great. But I feel like that's going to be enough to stop the Bears in the big moments. So they don't get a victory, but I think they'll keep it close strictly because it's a prime time and it's going to be ugly because eyes are on it.
Yeah. And then I think Bobby's on Washington. I could see this one being like a 20 to 14, 2017 type of finish. It's a Thursday night game. You should go bet the under and then count your money, because it's going to hit, because that's what happens on Thursday night. So we've got 4 of us.
Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson both still out. You know what I mean? So it's like, Howell should be able to at least score the points. Can the Bears offense score 17? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, you talked about how both these defenses are pretty bad, Addison. Both defenses giving up 30-plus points per game. Both defenses giving up 350-plus yards per game. Yeah. It is surprising, though. I know Washington faced Buffalo and Philly back-to-back, but they have given up 7 more sacks offensively than Chicago's offensive line has, and that's kind of surprising. So I'm not saying the Bears, can create the most pressure defensively, but
if there's a team,
Washington's offensive line hasn't been good.
Yeah. If there's a team to get sacks on, it's definitely this Washington Commanders, who are not very good, but we're going to see the battle of a couple of lightweights here on Thursday Night Football. And
I will say, I hope DJ Moore can make Emmanuel Forbes cry like he cried last week against AJ Brown.
Deactivated Twitter. Got the ball given to him in the end zone. If DJ Moore can do that in the first quarter, I'll switch. Yeah. I'll put all my money on the Bears.
I will say just about that penalty, man. Like, that could have fucked them. If they lost, it's just like, man, what's up, AJ Brown? Because it's that same. DJ Moore did it last year to the Panthers. Caught an insane touchdown and takes his helmet off. And it's like, it allows the Falcons to make a crazy play themselves. And it's like, don't do stupid shit. I get it's a big play, but it's like AJ Brown, they got 15 yards backed up on the kickoff because of you trying to make a show. And it's like, all right, that hurts the team, man.
Yeah, you're trying to show up a rookie, dude. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Yeah. So, anything else on Thursday night from you gentlemen? Looks like nothing. All right, so that's our Thursday night football talk. Let's jump into our power rankings.
Actually, real quick. I know there's a little tradition. I like to give out one bet for Thursday night games when we do these previews. Cole Kmet over 31.5 receiving yards, averaging 47.3 yards per game. He's the second highest receiver on the Bears this year as far as yards and targets go. 31.5. Come on.
That's easy.
That's the first half of football.
Washington defense. Yeah, it's easy. I love that.
Come
All
on.
right, very good. So moving on. Power